Hi, this is Jeff Cassman with Catholic Men of America, and today I have with me Patrick Rivera. Hi, Patrick.
How you doing, Jeff?
Doing great. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Same here.
We've done a bunch of these interviews with Catholic men in the business world. I think you're the first filmmaker and first Hollywood guy to be on the show. So looking forward to hearing about it. Tell us about your background, where you grew up, your family, your faith, that kind of thing.
Sure. I guess I'll go way back. I was born and raised in Nebraska, so I'm a Midwest boy. My mom was our church secretary for over 50 years. So she helped set up Holy Spirit Catholic Church there in our hometown. I was surrounded by priests. So a lot of my friends still are priests and just very close within the church. Went to Catholic school for 12 years. Very Catholic family. You know, we went to church. I went to Holy Days Obligation. I helped a lot at the church, stuffing envelopes, all of that. But even though it was a lot of work, it did bring me closer to the church because I really learned more about the church doing all those things and why and how come and et cetera, et cetera. So it was a good upbringing. I can't complain. It was really nice. Had my flaws as a teenager. My little rebellion. It was the 80s, so but always kept grounded. After that, I was after graduation, didn't know what I wanted to do. It was either go to the Navy, which I wanted to. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, play football, which I had scholarships to play football, and or be a priest. And all three of those obviously didn't work out. I had a bad back and knee injury for football in high school. And so football was out and the Navy were out. Senior year, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. And all of a sudden, I did get that little voice from God saying, I've got bigger things for you. Priesthood's not in it's not ready for you. I've got other things. So then, by the grace of God, my music teacher sent me a pamphlet about a new school or a new class that was opening up in this art school in Denver, and it was a film and music school. And so my mom and dad and I went down there. We checked it out, and I loved it. It was just right up my alley. I was already working at a TV station in high school, so I was doing camera work, editing for 2 years. So I already have that background for that art, and I loved it. And it was a private school, and so it was going to be more expensive. This college was Colorado Institute of Art, and like moms always do, prayed her novena, and 9 days later, I got a full ride scholarship. They asked me to do either two things: set up a record store. Now that's a whole going back a long time. You know, how would you set up a record store or do a music video? And I gathered all of my football footage from the TV station. Obviously, I'm there. Put some music to it, sent it in. 500-word essay. 9 days later, got the full ride scholarship. So very blessed, very happy about that. And it was a 2-year associate's degree, but I went all year round. So basically, it was 4 years and 2 years. And headed out to California and wanted to make music videos. So it was just a long journey, for me to get from the small town of 24,000 people moving to LA of, 8 million plus and, trying to take over the world, which I learned a very quick lesson that I wasn't all that. So it was it was definitely one of those dreams that I had. I love music. I was a standout musician, singer in high school, won a lot of national awards, choral awards. And so the music and the film blend just was perfect for me. And I really just dove into the music industry when I got out there, but it was hard because I was a nobody. I didn't know anyone. I knew a few people, but they basically said, you're going to suffer, you're going to suffer, you're going to suffer. Which I did, but it was hard getting a job in California because I was not at the level where I thought I was supposed to be. And I learned that the hard way. So I decided, well, I'm young, I'm 20. I'm going to start calling up record labels and just saying, hey, here I am, give it to me. And I called a lot of record labels and I met with a lot of record labels, and two of them really took notice. But one small record label basically kind of said, oh, so you think you can do better than my directors and the last music video? I said, yeah, I know I can. And honestly, he thought I was joking. So just to get me off of his back, he goes, I'm going to send you a budget. I'll get you everyone's information, and you do what you can. He set me up to fail because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get this big budget and next band. And I called the management company and they're like, okay, yeah, cool. You tell us what the budget is and we'll work with it. Well, I get the check. It was $1,000. And what do you do with $1,000? The average cost of a music video back then was about 50 to 100,000, and I got 1,000.
Now,
Well,
give us a sense of the time frame here. What is this, early 90s?
This is early 90s.
Okay.
And so we're talking this was the whole grunge thing was just starting to take off, but the whole heavy metal scene was still kind of in full force, and that's the record label that I was dealing with was one of those. And again, they're like, yeah, whatever. And so early 90s music videos were starting to get more sophisticated and they were getting more beautiful. And 80s music videos were fairly poorly done. Then the artistry started coming into it, and then all of the more details of lighting and a certain way of shooting was starting to happen, and that's why they were up to 50 to 100,000, because they all had to be shot on film. You couldn't shoot it on video. They needed film, and they had to have proof of film. And so what I said is, okay, let's do it. So we designed this whole music video concept. I pulled in favors from everyone and anyone I knew. And we shot it all on video. And people were like, you're not going to get this passed. Well, another editor and we kind of developed this film look back then. And it took years to develop it. But we developed it where we could turn video, make it look like film. And without it telling anyone. And I also shot some on Super 8. And so I mixed both and blended them both. And out of that $1,000, I spent $300. And I could pay rent that month. But it was all basically help from other people. I edited it myself. I shot it myself. I did everything myself. And the manager of the group said, if you impress the record label, you're going to go far. And I did. And he was very happy with it. It did very well in MTV Japan. And so I started doing other bands here and there. And before you know it, all through the 90s, I was doing music videos, electronic press kits. And doing a lot of shows. I did a lot of stuff for Dick Clark Productions, and you know, it wasn't constant, but I was working. So I kind of, you can say I got my foot in the hard way, but I got my foot in. And yeah, I was very, very blessed with a lot of those jobs that that I had.
So that was the 90s.
Yes.
Bring us a little more current in terms of your career, and
Okay.
and tell us how you came to be in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. So after the whole music thing, this is where I started. Well, in the 90s, I was also a youth minister, and I was also a confirmation teacher. And I was like the cool confirmation teacher because I was doing music videos and teaching, you know, these kids, you know, confirmation. And it mixed really well because, you know, you could do some really cool stuff, secular stuff, but also be very faithful. And that's what I tried to show my students. But in reality, all through those years, it was hard because I saw a lot of garbage. I saw a lot of debauchery. I saw a lot of all this typical stuff you hear about Hollywood. I saw it, and it got to a point where I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I was kind of done. And I kind of slowly started moving away from doing music stuff. Still had some clients here and there that I appreciated, but during that time, the '90s, all the way through the late, you know, teens, I was editing movies for DreamWorks, Warner Brothers, uh, Disney, Paramount. Basically, I ruined their movies. And what I mean by that is I prepared them to go on the airlines. I prepared them to go on cruise ships. I prepared them for distribution to TV stations. Basically, took out all the swearing, took out all the nudity, took out all of that stuff for subject-related stuff. I did a lot of stuff for the airlines in Saudi Arabia, and that was a whole thing in itself. Being, you can't have women wearing certain things, you can't have American flags, you can't have any of that stuff. So it was very challenging, but it really honed my editing skills a lot. And those 25, almost 30 years of doing that, I learned a whole bunch about the movie industry and how it functioned and how uh, they did things, and distribution especially. I learned a whole bunch about distribution, and all during that time I was creating little things here and there, doing little documentaries. And then in about 2010, um, I got some funding to do my first documentary. Now, in my background, I love bodybuilding, and I was a huge bodybuilding fan. And I had all the magazines, Muscle and Fitness, Flex, uh, Joe Weider products. I took them, and I wanted to do a documentary because there was really nothing done since Pumping Iron for the industry. So I called a Hall of Fame bodybuilder, and we teamed up, and I got to meet all of my heroes, all the guys that I had posters of, and I did a whole documentary on the 50 years of the Mr. Olympia, and traveled all over the world doing that with other uh, bodybuilders, you know, anybody that's that in the bodybuilding industry. I worked with, and uh, I self-distributed that in 27 different countries, and it was a big hit on Amazon. And during that time, for the first 5 years, it was considered one of the top three bodybuilding movies of all time. And you know, again, not expecting that, but again, I was very blessed that that happened. Um, After that, a man by the name of Jim Lorimer, he's the business partner of Arnold Schwarzenegger for the Arnold Sports Festival in Columbus, Ohio. And he called me up and he said, "Hey, we would love for you to do our documentary on our 25th anniversary of the Arnold Sports Festival. And I said, absolutely. So they hired me to do that. Again, a whole thing of, working with Arnold and working with all of the people that dealt with the Arnold Sports Festival. And the Arnold Sports Festival is the largest sports festival in the world. And it's the athletes that come in, it's not just bodybuilding, but it's they have powerlifting, they have gymnastics, they have tennis, they have uh, uh, a marathon, they have all these different events. And it's almost like a mini Olympics, but in Columbus, Ohio, they have that every year. And so we did that documentary, released that. I released it again on my own. Only hit about 12 different countries. And again, Amazon, it was a huge hit in Amazon. And from there, I was doing commercials for a lot of the bodybuilding industry, supplement companies, magazines, doing their electronic press kits, doing their profiles of their bodybuilders, athletes, whomever. And I did that for a good 10 years. And then, when 2020 came around, I was working with another pro bodybuilder with his shows very closely in Maryland. And we became very good friends. And just by chance, off and on, he was acting. He was doing some acting stuff, and he was hired to be in Creed and some other movies and some smaller movies. And he's like, "Look, the acting thing is great and it's fun, but I want to make money. And making money, you have to be a producer." He goes, "So how would you like to start a company together and start making movies?" I said, "Let's do it." So we started a company that just focuses on feature films. And our first film that we did was a kind of a horror / suspense called Evil at the Door. And it has John James. He's Golden Globe nominated. And I always forget the other guy's name. Not always. But he was also a Golden Globe winner, Academy Award nominee. And so when we did that, it was during COVID. And we're like, well, what are we going to do during COVID? Well, very carefully, we did a small production. We shot it all in Thousand Oaks, California at Frank Sinatra's little party house. And it's known for, where he used to have all the Rat Pack go, and just kind of a party house, basically. And now it's being rented out to do, these little films and whatever else. So we did that film, and we got really good distribution for it. And it's actually doing very well. Even to this day, it's doing very well. We get a nice hefty little residual check every quarter, especially during Halloween. Go figure. And then 2 years later, we did another movie called Rebroken, and it was more of a psychological thriller where it had Tobin Bell. He was the character of Jigsaw in all the Saw films, and he was awesome in this film. We love this movie. It did very well domestically, and but we're just happy with the way those are, how those came out. And we've taken a little bit of a break because the whole secular thing is great. We can do them, but honestly, before I left to go to Nashville, leaving California, just something in my heart told me to do something else. So in about 2022, I was helping at our parish in Mission Viejo, California, St. Killian, and there was a lady that came in with a little tag to put into the bulletin, and it was for a A at-risk pregnancy center, for people that are younger to go, and if they need help, they can go there. And I just saw it, and it just like the Lord talked to me and said, "This is your cue." I'm like, "Okay, what do I do?" And I never really, I played around with writing with scripts, but I really never did it much. And just again, it was God's divine intervention of saying, "Okay, let's get that pen and start going." And I started writing a script about a young woman who's in college, and she's really good, but she also has her failings, and she was in a relationship and she got pregnant, and she didn't know what to do. And so we had the character, you know, sit at her um, sit on her bed and contemplate, what do I do? What are the first things that I do? Do I call my parents? Do I look for an alternative way of dealing with this? Do I keep it? I'm too young to keep it. I don't know what to do. And as she's scrolling through her phone, she notices, kind of like a social media thing of a priest talking about, this particular topic. She watches it and she realizes what she needs to do. And she goes to the church, her local church, and um, she very angry with God, and we show it that she's like, "Help me, I need help. I don't know what to do." And she has a conversation with her and the priest. He comes in to close the, the church up for the night, and she kind of, as he's talking to her, he's not, downing her. He's not saying, "Oh, you got to do this." It's that love of God, and that's the message I wanted, was that, you know are you looking for God? Are you wanting him to talk to you right away? Or what are you really wanting from him? And it made her think. And so all through it, she's kind of thinking and contemplating this. As she leaves, she wants to thank him, and the priest is gone. Now, was he really there? Was it an angel? Was it? It's up to the audience to think from there. And it's and at the end, we give her decision, of what she decided to do. And it was just one of those things that I wanted to do. I paid for it myself. I had two actors from LA that I know very much. Actually, the girl that was that played the young lady, she was the actress in Evil at the Door, and she was glad to do it. The priest was a good friend of mine who I knew, another Catholic, good man. Uh, he just he said, "No problem, I got it." I go, "Well, we got to get you a priest outfit, so no, let's figure that." He goes, You don't have to worry about that. I already have one." "You already have one?" And he's like, "Yeah," because he was trying out for a couple roles before, and so he just bought the whole priest outfit. I'm like, perfect. And it was magic. I had just everyone and anyone that helped, and it turned out great. And Father Angelos, who's the pastor at St. Killian, he was so gracious of letting me use the church. And not only that, he was very gracious of letting us do a premiere there. And we had a big party. We just had wine and cheese out in the tent outside. Uh, Several hundred people showed up. We got to watch the film, question and answer, and it was it that I will say I made no money off of that, but the gratification I had out of this film was what I was missing, and that's what I wanted. And so my whole goal after that was, I need to start doing more of these type of films that are faith-based or Catholic-based or whatever. And um, I was convinced. I was really convinced, and I was even more convinced once I started sending this to film festivals. and the film festival started selecting it. I mean, it's all over the world they were selecting it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is God. And he's talking to me and he's saying, done with the secular, you need to start doing more of my work. And now I understand what he meant all those years ago, if I've got bigger plans for you. And this is truly it. So, not to say that I haven't done other secular stuff, because I've got to pay the bills, but my main focus now, especially moving out here to Tennessee, is him. I got out of California because it wasn't good for my kids. It was just everything that was going on there was not of what I believe in, what my faith says. I had to get out, and my kids were starting to get all these weird things, and all this and pronouns and all that. No, we're done. We're totally done with all this. So we moved to Nashville, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy, and it hasn't been easy, but it's that getting to the point of where God needs me to be uh, is where I'm at right now, you know. And I've turned down a lot of secular films because God's saying, no, that's not it. I mean, good paying films too, to either direct or produce. And I'm truly now seeing that I need to give back to our Lord because of what he's given me. And I'm gonna stick to that. So right now I'm full on, it's doing movies that have a really good meaning, not a lot of garbage, no swearing, no nudity, none of that. It just doesn't need to be in there. I want good, wholesome films, but also fun. I want them to have action. I want someone to watch my film and go, that was a great film, and not even realizing that there was this meaning behind it, and that there was no swearing or that there was no nudity. I want them to enjoy the film because it just looked like a regular film. And that's what Trick6 Films, which me and my partner Rich Siegelman have started. We're doing those films. And my first company that I started off was Trick Entertainment Films, and that's where we did the documentaries and the music videos and all that. Trick Entertainment Films is going to be basically um, where we do a lot of these Catholic films. I want them to be mainly Catholic because it's my faith. It's the truth. Why do anything else? So I want them to be very Catholic based, but also very fun.
One thing before we get and dive into that a little bit more, you mentioned distribution a couple of times. For people that
Yes.
are not familiar with Hollywood or the music or the movie business, explain what the role of distribution is, or perhaps back up and explain, how a movie is. You've got the script and you've got the production and you've got the filming. Walk us through kind of that part so that we can understand the importance of distribution.
Basically, without distribution, your movie is worthless. It really is. So distribution is basically the thing that makes you money. So or it gets eyes on your movie. Without that distribution, you can't you just really can't do much. So when we go to an investor, the first thing we say is, we're looking at these type of distribution markets to do these type of movies. It interests the investor because they want to see what the return on investment is, and if they see that we've got a contract, with a distributor already, that's good news. They're more likely, because it's more likely that it's going to be seen. It's going to be on iTunes. It's going to be on Amazon. It's going to be on Tubi. It's going to be on whatever else. And so distribution is just really what makes your film get out there to the public. Without distribution, it's very, very hard, and it's important. So and that's one of the things that I've, through those years, I've also learned that I can do it myself. It's very hard to do it yourself. I'd rather have someone else do it, but if we're, push comes to shove, I'd rather, get it out there, and I can get it on Amazon. I can get it on Tubi. I can get it on all those other places like that, which that's really mainly what a lot of them go on anyway. Now, if you're looking for, something a little bigger, your Hulu's, your Netflix, that's a whole different animal. Those are, that's when Netflix starts owning your film, and they'll pay you a good amount just to keep it. And it's a different animal. But distribution is just very important when it comes to making films. And without that part of filmmaking, making a film is just going to keep it in a hard drive.
So you make the movie, and then you need somebody to distribute it for you, or in this case, you've distributed some on your own. And then the difference between that is you have the ability to get it on Amazon or a handful of other places. But is it true that because you're distributing yourself, maybe there's no budget to push it, to promote it, versus somebody like a Netflix or Hulu or Angel or some of these other names people might heard of? They've got a budget, they've got relationships, they've got people, and so your self-distributed film is just kind of their distribution model really pushes it out to the world. Is that fair?
Right, because you're working with millions of dollars now. So your Netflix, your Hulu's, all that, because they have the budget to buy it and to promote it, it's world's difference. Now, there are other distribution companies that are smaller, and they won't promote it like they properly should, not like a Netflix, but it will get it out there. And it's really the filmmaker's job to get it out there, to promote it. And that's where marketing then comes in. It's very important to have that marketing person or, company to say, here's our new film, get it on Facebook, get it on what have you. Angel Studios, that's how they were trying to do it, especially with The Chosen, is they had a small, they didn't have a whole bunch of money back when they started out. And let's get it on Facebook. Let's do this. Let's do that. It was very grassroots, and grassroots does work. And now Angel Studios is now becoming like a regular studio because they learned, and with more investors coming in and also people investing into Angel Studios, it's working for them. So for someone like myself, when I do it all on my own, it's all on, how much time I want to put into it, how much effort it is. One of the advantages that I do have is if I don't sell it to a distributor, because they have full rights to get it out there, I can't do anything else with it. When I own it myself, I can go to a little mom and pop, streaming companies and get it on myself, which I usually do. And I can get it on the Amazons and the Tubis and the Canyon Star and all that stuff. Those are the smaller ones that any other distributor would not even think about. So I can at least do that. Canyon Star, that I have a good relationship with, they're a company here in the South, and they took Lead Me to the Cross, which is about the young lady who got pregnant. They took it because they wanted more faith-based stuff. And not only did they help promote it, they really pushed it up front. So when they got it and they started streaming it, they put it all over Facebook and Instagram, and I was very happy with that. I mean, it was just more than I could even, think of them doing, which was great. There are, I mean, it's hard getting that Netflix. I mean, you've got to have that movie that's going to blow people's minds, and it's hard. It's not easy getting stuff on Netflix or on Hulu. It can be done, but that's why right now streaming is king, because you can go on to any streaming platform, Amazon, Tubi, even iTunes, whatever, watch whatever you want. And that's kind of, and your independent filmmakers like myself have that advantage, with this multiple streaming instead of just having it on Hulu. You know, so you've got different streaming platforms that can, you know, whoever might have it can watch it.
So you've got, just stepping back again to kind of look at the business model, you've got to have a script.
Yes.
You've got to have the money, whether it's self-financed donations or there's an investor to then produce the movie, to create it, to hire the actors, all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Pay a director, whatever. Then you've got to edit it. You got to put in music score and all that sort of stuff. So the creation of the movie happens first, and it has to be funded. Then in the traditional model, you find a distributor. So I imagine that distributor, their business model is they take a percentage of the sales.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that there's a scenario that maybe many people would be familiar with, The Passion of the Christ, all those years ago. Mel Gibson financed this movie himself, and then he couldn't get anybody to distribute it.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
none of the big firms would. Of course, this is a long time ago, before the rise of Netflix and Amazon and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally had to go on a tour of big evangelical churches pitching the movie.
Yep.
And I don't remember the details. They're not necessarily important for this, but that's an example that everybody would be familiar with of where the distribution wasn't in place. I imagine now with his next one, The Resurrection, which is due next year, I imagine he's got a distribution partner for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Last I remember, I think they said Lionsgate. So
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, because there's success. He had success. Again, that's a typical, you know, model of a distributor saying, oh yeah, he made how much on that first one? Yeah, we want a piece of that. You know, and now you're seeing more of your Foxes, your Sonys, all of them starting to have their own faith-based divisions because they saw what he did and how the success of all the faith-based films are doing. Your Angel Studios, what have you, they want a piece of that action. In some ways, I think that's great, but in a lot of ways, I don't like it because it's Hollywood, and Hollywood's interest is just in themselves, and it's all about the money.
So what we've seen that's happened in recent years have been the success of some well-made movies and shows. You mentioned the Chosen as kind of the premier example. But there has been a problem in the Catholic space, in my opinion.
Yes.
Of a lack of high quality content. It's either poorly done or poorly financed, or the acting is not great, or I'm thinking of a couple of films that I shows, probably no, they're feature-length films that my kids and I have liked. You know, they were made in Italian, right, and they've got an English dub or whatever, and that's okay. But you know, why is it you got to go to Italy or France to get a decent film about a saint made? Of course, there have been some films that break that mold, like Cabrini was well made. But
yes,
what's the problem in the Catholic space? Why can't Catholics produce things like The Chosen or The House of David or stuff of that production quality? Do you have an opinion on that?
I do. I mean, of what I hear, it's changing, but what I've noticed and what I've fallen into is no one wants to fund these things, even though I'll say it outright. This is for evangelization. This is not for making money. This is for evangelization, to get our stories out there for people to understand. And people are sympathetic with that, but they don't want to support it. So here's a great example. So I just got done producing a film called Virgin Birth for a evangelical K-Love, and All About Mary. We can talk about that later, but it's a beautiful film. One of the things that I noticed, and it's just a little thing, is they had this movie on their platform. It was free. It was free to watch. And you could go onto their platform, just sign in with your email, and you could watch the movie for free. The reaction, decent. But once we put it on YouTube for 2 weeks and said, hey, it's free for 2 weeks on YouTube, catch it now. Boom, it exploded. It had over 1 million views on YouTube. And because it's just easy, click, go, start. And people, and again, that shows you the audience. They don't want to go in. They don't want to, type in their name and type in this and that. They just want to go and start. Getting financing for these films has been challenging for a lot of filmmakers. I know several good Catholic filmmakers that have had that issue. Can they make smaller films? Yeah. Can they do really nice ones? Yeah. But are they frequent? No, because businessmen are businessmen. They want a return on investment. And it's hard to say, well, yeah, this is going to get your return on investment. Yeah, we're going to do a film on St. Jerome. Okay, great. Sounds wonderful. Script looks great. Everything. Who's going to watch it? And that's one of the problems. And a lot of people don't know. Well, Cabrini, as you mentioned, beautifully done. I mean, it's beautiful. How many people really know about St. Cabrini? I mean, honestly, if you look at it, you've got to delve into it. But if people are really that lazy just to put in their email to watch a film, no one's going to do their research on who St. Cabrini is. And it was proof because it didn't do well. It didn't make its money back at all, and it hurt. That's telling other investors, we got to back off because there's just no money in this. And they promoted it. I mean, Angel Studios promoted the heck out of it. And it's what you're also doing though is you're taking out, the Protestant market as well. And it was the same with Virgin Birth. It was the Protestant market, but not the Catholic market. No one in the Catholic market wanted to really look at this film.
So this film Virgin Birth was it? So you were the producer,
Yes.
just helping people understand the roles. You didn't own the film.
No.
Somebody else owns the film. Did
Yes.
they shop it to the Catholic world to say, hey, here's this idea we have, or we've already produced the film, we'd like for you to distribute it? How did they end up with K-Love as their distribution partner?
So my friend Derek Gates, who was the writer and director, he had written this film years and years and years ago. It was a passion for him. He is his dad's a pastor, and he is a good Christian man. And for some reason, he's got this great devotion to Mary in a certain way, and he wanted to show her story. There's something about her story that really resonated with him, and so he wrote this really beautiful script that takes place from the Annunciation to Jesus's birth. So basically everything in between, the visitation, everything. And he did it justice. He let me read it, I don't know, about 5 years ago. I fell in love with it because he did her such honor. And he even was to the point where he asked me, well, do you think the Catholic market would dig this or dig that? Or is there anything that, is a little, and I go, honestly, what you've done, you did her much honor. And so this was on the back burner. We tried to get funding for it. I tried all of my, the people that I know, I even, back then, some of the biggest Catholic, billionaires that I was able to be introduced to. Nope, don't want to do it, don't want to do it, don't want to do it. And they So basically, it was on this back burner. He was originally out in Burbank. During COVID, he moved to Denver, and he got a job at Caleb. And they were building studios here in Nashville, moving from Sacramento. And he was told that they're going to build these studios and they want to start doing more narratives. And he's like, cool. Well, for his first 2 years out here, he was doing more music projects, concerts, music profiles for the bands and the artists for their radio station. And they came in with some new management, and they decided to do a streaming platform, and they wanted an original thing. Hey, Derek, you got anything? By the way, I do. And he sold them on the script, the short version of it, and he kept the rights to the feature because he still wants to do the feature of it. And Caleb said, "Tell us what the budget's going to be. You shoot it. We'll get it out there." And obviously, Caleb is a evangelical, radio station and company, but they were very open to a lot of things, and especially to trying to get it out to the Catholic market, because they saw, oh my God, it's about Mary. Who else loves Mary more than Catholics? That's where I came in, so I could come in and help, try to get some of the, even just getting it to schools and churches and what have you. And it was very hard, very, very hard. I have a friend at EWTN who looked at it. She's a writer, and she took it to her editor at EWTN, and her exact words were, "We're hesitant on doing this." I don't know what that meant, but I'm thinking because it wasn't done by a Catholic, and there's no Jonathan Rumi, and there's no names involved. They passed, even just on doing an article. I mean, that's all I wanted was just please do an article so we can shop it around. I tried shopping around to the podcast. I tried shopping just to get the message out there, and I got no response. I sent it to Relevant Radio. I sent it to who else? Lila Rose. I sent it to all these different people who I got no response from. And I don't know why. So again, either there wasn't enough big names in it. I don't know. It's just, I'm still kind of perplexed about that. But as far as I know, very few Catholics have watched this beautiful film about Our Lady. And, that's where I'm having issues.
Yeah, so you're making the case that it's not like the Catholic market is flooded with high quality, engaging content, and these films just got lost in the shuffle. That's obviously not the case.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about. I mean, I think this takes us well into this concept you and I talked about just briefly before the call, Project 1615.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit. You kind of alluded to it, but let's talk about it specifically, because as you explained this to me, I thought it was a great concept, and which has spurred this interview. Tell us about that Project 1615.
Sure. So I had several inceptions of what I wanted to call it. I wanted to call it 1531 because it was the year that Our Lady of Guadalupe showed up, and so I was like, I like that, but then a scripture hit me from Mark, and actually I was at Mass, and it was Mark, and I looked at it was Mark 16:15, and it was go out to all the world and spread the gospel, and that was Jesus's words, and I'm just like, that's it. That is what I want to call it, because that's what I want to do. 1615 Project is basically my way of evangelizing through film. And if I can get somebody to watch a certain film about a certain subject, project, what have you, it would be, wonderful. And and it's not my own concept. I was a huge fan of uh, a project back in the 60s and 70s and 80s called Insight. And there was a priest in Hollywood that did exactly this. Is he made these short films on anything and everything about morality, about faith, about God, about I mean, some of it got really kind of very detailed, but it had to be to reach certain people. And what he did is he used a studio that off hours, and he got huge names to come in and act in these. Martin Sheen, Ed Asner. I mean, all these big ones that were back in the day. These were big actors. Um, Ron Howard. I mean, just John Ritter. All these big names, and he got them to act in these things. And great concept. I mean, were they the best looking things? No, but for what they were, it did the job. It created what he wanted and it got the message out. What I wanted to do was take that concept and again, shorts, just do all short films and tell these stories of real things happening and get them out there on a platform for free so anyone can watch it. There may be that person that's lost their faith. There may be that person that was Catholic that's not Catholic anymore. There may be that person that is has never had any faith whatsoever and they see a certain thing. I want to hit projects and films that hit every aspect of what's going on, you know, in our faith and in the world, because that's really what it is. It's the world that we need to deal with. And how do we either get out of that world, deal with that world, and who do we count on, which is God, to get through this world? And so that's kind of where the 1615 project started. And the more people I start telling about it, the more they like it. Yeah, it makes sense, especially shorts. Shorts are hot right now. People want shorts. And a lot of my distributor friends are like, if you got a short, we'll take it. They'll take any kind. And it's proof because I put up Lead Me to the Cross and a couple others that I did on Amazon. And are they breaking records? No. But are people watching them? Yeah. I mean, it's people want to see that stuff. So I figured if I can have a platform where I can show them for free, like Insight did, anyone can watch it. They can be shown at schools. They can be shown at retreats or whatever. That's kind of what I want to do is have something for anybody and everybody to watch.
And so Project 1615, you could create modern short films based on Catholic concepts, Catholic traditions, scriptural parables, stories, and so forth, even if they're discreetly told, that might appeal to an audience beyond practicing Catholics, might appeal to Protestants, secular people. Tell a good story, tell it well, and then there's like a moral that's built into the story, somewhat like Insight, which I checked it out on YouTube. Everybody watching should check out. Go to YouTube and look up Insight shows from the 60s and I think early 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully kind of break this cycle of not very good Catholic content, and distribute it even on your own if you have to, right?
Right. And that's my whole goal is have and these aren't going to be just made like quickly and just to put it out there. These are going to be done professional. The cameras, the lighting, I mean, they're going to look well produced. But we can do them for a smaller amount of money. And so with that, because a lot of it, Lead Me to the Cross, I shot it, I wrote it, I did the lighting, I did all of that. I don't plan on doing that with all of them, but you get a small crew that can help, that knows what they're doing, lighting wise, sound wise, editing wise. I mean, I edit everything myself anyway, so that's where we can save the money. But this is where the concept with having a beautiful looking short film can have these elements in it. And I mean, I've probably got 24, short films that I've already written that I'm ready to go. I mean, some are basic pro-life ones, or basic, ones on, maybe on the Eucharist, maybe ones on, uh, you know, uh, uh, domestic abuse, and there's one all on witchcraft. There's a young woman who's into witchcraft. Well, why do you want to do something on witchcraft? Because right now that is the hot thing, is witchcraft. Kids are going to witchcraft right now. They're dumping God for witchcraft, even though they don't know what it is. Oh, I'm not a witch, I'm a good witch. It's all that stuff. But that stuff is really happening. And there are real stories of people that have been caught in that, those demons have caught them, and they're trying to get out of it, or they have gotten out of it. I want to tell those stories. How did you get out of it? Did Jesus save you? I want to tell those stories, because there's that one person that could see that film and go, yeah, I am trapped in this. And all I need to do is just trusting God. I mean, period. And that's really all it comes down to. Look to something different. Even though you may have gone there first, try it again. God's talking to you. Maybe this film can talk to you. Maybe one of my films can talk to you. Something. I'm not here to save the world, but I'm here just to kind of change it a little. And through these films, in a beautiful way, that's kind of my goal, is, again, evangelize all on, the wrongs of the world, how to make it right. And really, honestly, that our faith that we have, especially our Catholic faith, is, a lot to do with it, because a lot of people don't know that either. I can't go to the church. I can, how are they going to help me? They can. So that's what I want to show.
Great. Patrick, it's been wonderful talking with you and exploring both the business model with some insights into movie making and so forth, as well as this idea that you have going forward. The film that you have referenced repeatedly and that won some awards is Lead Me to the Cross.
Yes.
Where can people find you online? Give us your, I know you're on LinkedIn. Give us your other platforms where people can reach you online.
Sure. There's several websites. There is, I'll give you three. There's patrickrivera.film.com. That's my personal one. There is trickent.com, TRICKENT.com. And then there is Trick6Films.com. Any one of those three, you can reach me or just look at my work, see where we're going. The Trick, my personal one is more updated. It has more of the 1615 film project in there. And they can, if they want to contact me, please, they can do it through there.
And if somebody wanted to watch Lead Me to the Cross, where would they find that?
They can go to Amazon, and it's on Amazon. Just type in Lead Me to the Cross, and it's right there. They can watch it at any time. Or if you're in the South and you have Roku or iTunes, there is a streaming company called Canyon Star TV, and you can watch it there for free. So it's on there.
Wonderful. Patrick, it's been great chatting with you and hearing all of your history and your plans. God bless you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.